Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, we're going to be keeping up with Hurricane Beryl as it was previously a Category 5 hurricane, the earliest Category 5 hurricane on record in the North Atlantic Ocean and closer to the U.S. We're also going to be talking about the heat and humidity that continues to spark rounds of severe weather. So if you are new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. We cover North America, including southern Canada, the United States, the tropics, right here on this channel. Also, be sure to press the like button down below. It helps out more than you know. Also, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to each and every one of those later on today. So looking here at Hurricane Beryl, it was just previously a 160 mile per hour Category 5, the earliest Category 5 on record in the North Atlantic Basin, and is now weakened to a high-end Cat 4 at 155 mile per hour winds as it closes in on portions of the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and also Jamaica over the next 24 to 48 hours. Looking at the sea surface temperature anomalies, it is in an environment that is very favorable for strengthening or maintaining its intensity at a Cat 3 or higher over the next 24 to 48 hours. With all of these orange areas, that is above normal sea surface temperature anomalies. Here's the latest track and cone of uncertainty from the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, as a major hurricane moves closer to the island of Jamaica and the Cayman Islands over the next 24 to 48 hours here, and it continues to remain a hurricane all the way up to the Yucatan Peninsula there through Friday morning, and then as it crosses over the Yucatan Peninsula and that landmass, it's going to break this up more into a tropical storm for the weekend, and the track is so key as we go into the weekend, and if this goes further north or further west or southwest as we go in toward the weekend time frame. Here are some of the ensemble tracks. Now, what is more unlikely at this point is it moves over Cuba and in toward Alabama, northwest Florida. That is very unlikely. The more likely track is it goes through or even just south of Jamaica toward the Cayman Islands there, moves over the northern Yucatan Peninsula, back over the open waters of the Bay of Campeche or the Western Gulf, and then up either toward the Brownsville, Texas region, eastern Mexico, or Corpus Christi. That is the most likely scenario at this point. We'll have to wait and see. A lot of uncertainty here until this hurricane makes landfall in the Yucatan. We won't have a lot of data on that until we get toward the weekend. Closer to home, the heat is in place. We have a high pressure ridge across the southeast United States, widespread heat headlines in the orange. We have heat advisories across the deep south in the pinks, excessive heat warnings, and look how widespread across California there into southern Nevada and including western Arizona we have that. Places like Sacramento, San Diego, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas, we have those excessive heat warnings as of this hour. Look at the high temperatures this afternoon. We are into the triple digits across a good chunk of southern Kansas, portions of Oklahoma, much of the Lone Star State here of Texas, widespread mid and upper 90s surrounding that area. And look at all the triple digits out here. The Sacramento Valley all the way south into Southern California, into Death Valley, into portions there of Arizona, as well as the Las Vegas area. And when you factor in the moisture content of what the air will really truly feel like to the body as you walk outdoors, we could have heat indexes into the 105 to 115 degree Fahrenheit range across portions of the southern Midwest and into the Gulf Coast as we go through the afternoon. So make sure to please stay hydrated. If you do venture outdoors, find a shaded area or air-conditioned building as you go outdoors here for work or anything that you need to do outdoors. And with all that heat and humidity building, this is leading to more severe weather. We saw a regional tornado event across southern portions of Nebraska yesterday evening, with 5 confirmed tornadoes there, some sporadic wind and hail surrounding that in the blue and green shaded color with those reports out there. Here is the storm energy across portions of the Midwest today, down across the Mississippi Valley. This is actually leading to more of a regional outbreak of severe weather. A level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk of severe weather into the Des Moines area, southward toward Kansas City, St. Joseph, and Kirksville, Missouri. We'll keep a very close eye on that. And then a level 2 and 1 out of 5 in the dark green and yellow shaded color respectively back into the central and the southern plains. The biggest threats today will be 60 to perhaps 70 mile per hour winds especially from southern and southeastern Iowa into northern Missouri, southeastern Nebraska, and northeastern Kansas. And then we could have some quarter-size hailstones, or maybe even larger at times with all the heat and humidity building today. And there will be a localized formidable tornado threat from the Des Moines area eastward toward the Davenport Quad Cities, Kirksville, Missouri, Kansas City, Topeka, all the way back toward Dodge City. We need to be watching out for the tornado threat, as a few tornadoes will be possible this afternoon and this evening. Timing this out, this afternoon, scattered thunderstorms developing in central Iowa, in and around the Des Moines-Ames region here, and maybe as far north and east as Waterloo, Iowa. Some of those storms are a little bit more isolated the further south you go, with the cap on the atmosphere. As we go into the evening, a line of heavy rain-producing thunderstorms at the very least, with some severe weather warnings attached to them, likely from portions of southwest Wisconsin through western Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, and back into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. We'll be watching this whole entire line or broken line of storms this evening, with all hazards of damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes possible. Then a localized heavy rainfall and flash flooding event may be possible across the Midwest overnight tonight here, as that severe weather threat dwindles and the flash flooding threat increases overnight as these storms move over the same areas with, by the way, saturated soils. A lot of river flooding going on in this area. So the upper Mississippi Valley here, the tri-state area of eastern Iowa, western Illinois, northeastern Missouri, we have the potential of over 4 inches of rainfall here as we go through your Wednesday morning commute, and that is leading to a slight and moderate risk for flash flooding. So scattered to numerous flash floods will be possible here, especially from Des Moines towards Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and the Keokuk, Iowa area here, as well as Ottumwa. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on that this afternoon, this evening, and overnight tonight. Going through the rest of the week, we have a trough that's going to continue to move across the northern U.S. that will squash the ridge further south, but the ridge will be building in strong further off to the west. So this means more heat across the south and across the west as we go into Wednesday. Thursday, some cooler air across portions of the northern tier of the United States. The heat will remain across the south and the west. And then look at the west really start to heat up by the end of the work week on Friday, July 5th. Look at California and Oregon, even Washington State getting into the 90s and triple digits as we go into later on this work week. And look at all the storm fuel at its disposal on Wednesday. This is for tomorrow on July 3rd, and even on 4th of July. On Thursday, a lot of that storm energy remaining in the middle of the country there. So a slight risk of severe weather from the lower Ohio River Valley back toward the mid-south as we go into Wednesday. Another slight risk back here across portions of the plains and the Front Range as we go into Wednesday as well. Scattered storm activity will be possible as that frontal boundary moves to the east and southeast, and not everybody will see this Wednesday afternoon, and it'll grow upscale, maybe a complex of storms across the plains with the better forcing here and a better lift across the central plains as we go into Wednesday night. Slight risk of severe weather shifts a little further east, the Missouri Ozarks region, eastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma, and far northern Arkansas as we go into 4th of July on Thursday. Some stronger storms possible further east toward Kentucky, West Virginia, and the Delmarva region. We'll be keeping an eye on that. Again, not everybody will see these storms, but on Thursday, some scattered storm activity. Again, maybe growing upscale with that low-level jet, the forcing and the lift for those storms as we go into Thursday night across the Missouri Ozarks region and back toward the Mid-South. Rainfall totals on Wednesday for tomorrow's rainfall. From the Corn Belt all the way down into the Mid-South, we could be seeing areas in the blue of 1 to 2 inches worth of rain, and then another heavy swath of rain in areas that really don't need it up here in the upper Midwest, the upper Mississippi Valley region, from the Twin Cities region in towards portions of Eau Claire, Wisconsin, toward Green Bay, Marquette, Michigan, those areas there into northern lower Michigan. Widespread 1 to 4 inches worth of rain as we go into your Thursday time frame. So we'll be watching out for more river flooding being aggravated and more of those low-lying areas like farm fields, ditches, and stuff like that, seeing some flooding through the end of the week. Heading into the weekend, we still have that trough up here across the northern U.S. that will keep us nice and cool, but a ridge across the west. And look at how far above normal we'll be, not only for California and Nevada, but also Oregon, into the Portland, Eugene, and Medford area, over here into Seattle and Spokane, Washington. A lot of these areas will be well above normal, as much as 30 to 32 degrees above normal with our temperature anomalies. And in the middle of the country there around the Corn Belt, the northern plains, the upper Midwest, as much as 15 to 16 15 degrees below normal for the weekend. So here are your high temperatures on Saturday. Look at the heat starting to build there for Portland, Eugene, and Medford, the Spokane, Washington area, even up here towards Portland, or towards the Portland area, like I said, and then Seattle as we go into Saturday. Sunday, all of that heat will continue in a lot of the same areas, but the northern tier of the United States will be very cool, very refreshing for the weekend. So definitely get outdoors and enjoy those festivities out there, especially with it being the July 4th holiday weekend. And you can see on Saturday, a lot of dry air here across the middle of the country. The cold front will be further off to the east and southeast. That will continue into Sunday, although we could have some scattered showers and storms here with the heating of the day across the middle of the country. We'll be watching out for that from the Corn Belt in the Midwest all the way down to the southern plains. There could be some hit or miss showers and storms. Some of those could produce heavy rain, maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches of rain here. But this will be a lot of dry hours will outweigh the wet hours across this region. Heading into next week, that ridge will only expand and intensify as we go across the western U.S. A little bit of a trough over here toward the east. This will mean some cooler temperatures in the middle, again, from the Corn Belt down here into the southern plains. A little warmer there out ahead of that cold front across the east, but the west really going to start to warm up, not only for the western U.S., but also Western Canada, British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, starting to get very warm for next week between Monday, July 8th and Friday, July 12th in the second week of July, as much as 30 degrees above average out here. And we have to look at the jet stream orientation. That will shift the main storm track further north into the central Canadian prairies and then down across the Great Lakes and interior New England and southeastern Canada through next week. So it looks like we're going to be shutting off a lot of the precipitation across the northern tier of the United States with that ridge building next week. Tropical induced rains potentially for Mexico into portions of Texas and the lower Mississippi Valley, and then up the East Coast if we see that system here and where it tracks with Beryl as we go into next week. Looking at the rainfall totals, here is the expected totals of rain between Monday, July 8th and Friday, July 12th across the middle of the country. The middle 2/3 of the country will be very wet. Look at the west, not a drop of rain for Washington State, Oregon, California, Nevada, Idaho, western Montana, Utah, Arizona, the Baja of California. Not a drop of rain for you as we go into next week. Just hot and dry as we go through that time frame. So buckle up and get ready for that. Thank y'all for watching. If you like today's weather forecast, give it a like down below, give it a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those later on after the video. Subscribe to the channel here at Weather on the Go. We'll have another weather forecast video out for you tomorrow. Thank y'all for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day out there.